Good evening, folks. I'm Jeff Brandon here with Alan Raleigh. Norristown High boys basketball. Once again, tonight the Eagles take on the Patriots of Central Bucks East High School in what should be a fine contest. Of course, this is the second ball game of the year for the Norristown Eagles. The Eagles entering this contest coming off a decisive victory over the Knights of Bishop Kenrick. In that ball game, we saw the Eagles' speed and their ability to generate offense at will practically. Of course, Bill Werkheiser, we hope, will be with us later on this evening. Bill, Alan, and I, in wrapping up that Norristown-Kenrick ball game, mentioned that we think Norristown has a long way to go this year. They're not a tall ball club by any means. The tallest player out there is 6'2" for Norristown. That's number 14, Theron Ellis, and he'll be at center jumping for Norristown. Jumping for the Patriots will be number 14, Chuck Smith. And there's the tap. Theron Ellis skies, but the tap goes to the Patriots. So controlled by CB East. They're, of course, in the dark blue uniforms with the red lettering, numbering. And Norristown, of course, in their home white uniforms, brand new uniforms, by the way, with the blue letters. We've got a kick ball. That's Keith Jones, number 11 for Norristown. To run down those Eagle starters, number 11, Keith Jones, number 14, Theron Ellis, number 24, Mike Simpkins, a starter from last year, as well, number 20, Steve Bishop, returning starter, and your fifth starter, number 22, John Doc Ward for the Eagles. Norristown quickly into a nice save that time by Theron Ellis, but saved in any event to CB East. East brings the ball down the far sideline, tapped away by Steve Bishop. Bishop tips to Keith Jones. Jones down court, charge. Nope, we're going to have a, yes we are, that's right, folks, an offensive foul. Keith Jones called for charging. That time CB East player was able to position himself nicely in the lane, position his feet, and absorb the foul. So we're just entering this ball game, the first seconds. We've got 7:16 left to go in the first quarter. A scoreless tie. Jones outlets off the rebound to Steve Bishop. Bishop to Simpkins. Mike Simpkins, the basket is good, and foul on the play. So the Eagles quickly on the scoreboard at 2-0. And Norristown has one more preseason contest against the Colonials of Plymouth Whitemarsh. That also here at the Norristown High School Gymnasium. Those are the home contests preseason. Then, of course, you have the Triangle Club Tournament over the holiday season. That December 27th and 28th here at the Norristown High School Gymnasium. Should be quite a contest. I hope you folks can come out and join us for the Triangle Club. Simpkins on the free throw, no good. East saves the ball. Nope, not quite on the end line, and Norristown will have control of the ball. To run down those starters for you for CB East, we've got number 12, Paul Fratrick. Number 14, Chuck Smith. And we'll get you the rest of those starters in just a moment. Mike Simpkins with the jumper. The basket's good. So the Eagles are heading this ball game 4-0. Bounce pass out of bounds. Coach John Questwell fields that one for the Norristown High Eagles. Also out there, number 34, Kevin Reck. Number 42, Andy York. As they fight for the ball inside, Doc Ward comes away with it and puts the soft jumper up. Doc Ward from the middle of the lane. The basket's good. A foul on the play. It's going to be against Theron Ellis, number 14. Got his hand in there a little bit illegally. All right, the officials are ready to begin play again. They go down low to number 14, Chuck Smith. The jumper, number 34, Kevin Reck. Basket's good, and CB East on the scoreboard. Oh, they go down low. No foul on the play, and CB East comes away with the ball. Chuck Smith looking for some help. He's got number 24, Bruce Stankovic. That's your 5th starter for CB East. Ball's out of bounds, and CB East will retain possession. Look at the brother, quarterback. Shot from the outside by Kevin Reck, no good. Outlet goes to Keith Jones. Nice play that time. Oh, whips it over to Steve Bishop. Banks the shot off the glass. Nice play, Al.
That's right. As a matter of fact, I think the pass was actually intended for Mike Simpkins that time, who was coming down the middle of the lane, but it was a little too far ahead of him, and alertly Steve Bishop right there to pick it up.
And East gets the ball up. It's number 44 for them, Kevin Davis. Davis no good. Oh, what a play by Keith Jones. Flipped that ball around for Mike Simpkins. Simpkins couldn't control the pass and fell to the ground. Keith Jones looked like he's been moonlighting for the Globetrotters. Oh my goodness, that hurt. We've got a jump ball, a tie-up. At that time, who is that, Alan? That's number 44 for the Patriots. Kevin Davis fell right down on top of that basketball. That must have hurt. Knocked the wind out of you anyway. But Davis will be here for the jump ball with Keith Jones. Jones wins the tap to Bishop. Steve has some problems handling the ball, but finally retains possession. Jones in the corner with the jumper. Short. No good. Rebound by Stankovic. Stankovic looks for some help. Slides it off to the left side. The jumper, Kevin Reck. And he's got all 4 points in this ball game for East. Norristown, a little bit of sloppy play there. Throws the ball out of bounds on the inbound pass. And it'll be East ball from the near sideline. Our score this ball game 8-4, folks, with 4:26 left to go in the first quarter. They go inside to Chuck Smith. Has no place to go. Steve Bishop steals the ball away. Theron Ellis taps it out. And Mike Simpkins comes away with it for the Eagles. He's got men on either side. Traveling before the contact. That time Mike Simpkins had a 3-on-1 break. Kept it himself, and he was called for traveling before any contact was made. And that time, Simpkins should have gotten rid of the ball. Failed to do so, and it's the Patriots' possession. 8-4 Eagles, folks. We're just into this ball game in the first quarter. CB East and Norristown High School boys basketball. Foul on the play on Bishop. Okay, that's close officiating now. That time, Steve Bishop, a little bit of minor contact there, and the officials make the call. So it'll be Kevin Davis from the near sideline. They go cross court to Reck. Puts the shot up way long, won't go. Rebound by Doc Ward. Outlet to Keith Jones. Jones has Bishop on his left. Pulls up for the jumper. Short, no good. Patriots ball. They said Doc Ward knocked the ball out of bounds that time.
You know, Jeff, that's twice now we saw Keith Jones come down on the break, pull it up for the jumper, but he was a little tentative, and I think that's what cost him there. He has to do it naturally, just pull up and pop it.
That time Kevin Reck had his shot tapped. No good, but the rebound taken by number 42 for the Patriots, Andy York, and York makes the basket, so making an 8-6 Norristown advantage. Out of bounds, Norristown will retain possession. Steve Bishop with a jumper. Oh, I'll tell you, nothing but net. Steve Bishop has a nice touch on that shot. Norristown with the press. East able to beat it this time. I'll tell you how Kevin Davis is a big fella. He stands 6'4" out there. He's got to be the biggest player out on the court. Chuck Smith with the shot, won't go. Rebound by Doc Ward. That time Norristown in a good position underneath, cleared those boards effectively. Jones goes to Bishop. No shot this time as he's double teamed. Jones with the jumper, short. Rebound taken by number 42, Andy York. And York, also a tall fellow, standing 6'3" out there for the Patriots. Reck with the jumper, won't go. There's going to foul on the play over the top this time, being called on number 42, Andy York of CB East. Theron Ellis that time can't get the basket to go, and Norristown that time with the advantage underneath, but can't get any basket out of it. The long outlet pass for East that time, and Chuck Smith too far for him to handle. Ball's out of bounds. And Chuck Smith also 6'3" for CB, so they've got a fairly tall front line, taller than Norristown certainly is. Doc Ward looks for some help. They whip the ball around the outside. They look to Mike Simpkins in the middle. Simpkins with the turnaround. Nice shot by Michael. Give him 6 points in this ball game, make it a 12-6 Norristown advantage. 1:37 left to go in the first quarter. They beat the press again. They've got Kevin Reck down low. Theron Ellis covers him quickly. And they bring the ball outside to Stankiewicz. And Alan just pointed out to me that Stankiewicz, a sophomore, starting at guard for CB East. They go inside. That time Andy York shot won't go, but East Andy York gets the rebound. Theron Ellis stuffs it in his face that time. However, Ellis trying to save that ball, had his foot on the end line, so it'll be CB East with possession from underneath their own offensive basket. Outside to Reck. Oh, Keith Jones anticipated nicely on that one. Breakaway. Oh my goodness. A reverse slam dunk for Keith Jones. I'll tell you, that's the first one we've seen all year, Al.
That's true. You know, I was just thinking if he missed that, John Cresswell would have him on the bench so quickly, but he looks like a pro when he hits it. And even hung on the rim and got away with it. He should have been called for a technical.
Norristown, Theron Ellis with the outlet to Steve Bishop. Bishop's shot won't go. They tap it around up top, and Keith Jones back outside to Bishop. 3 seconds that time. I think that was Doc Ward or Mike Simpkins was in the lane. 3 seconds.
Mike Simpkins that time was caught standing in the paint.
I'll tell you, we haven't seen a dunk all year until this Keith Jones breakaway, and that's the kind that those guys dream about when they've got nobody on them. An easy breakaway.
I'll tell you, last year Darren Queenan showed us quite a few when he was here, an outstanding leaper, but none of Queenan's were that spectacular.
And Keith Jones, not a tall ball player. Jones out there only stands 6 feet even, and he can slam with that ease. That's amazing. Great leaping ability. Stankiewicz hit by Theron Ellis. And I think that was definitely a foul on Theron there. A little body contact. And quickly up on the Norristown bench, number 12 for the Eagles, Steve Manning, and he'll replace Theron Ellis.
You know, that's something that Theron Ellis has to work on. And, of course, he's inexperienced out there on the court, but he's picked up 2 quick personal fouls. We saw that happen also in the Kenrick ball game, and he spent just about the entire second quarter on the bench. And that's something he's going to have to work on, because if they lose him in a game against a much tougher opponent than CB East here, they're going to have some big problems underneath.
At that time, it's Keith Jones committing the personal foul, and he's going to quickly take a seat on the bench. Quickly into the ball game, number 10, Mark Coleman. And we were very impressed with Coleman, his time out against Bishop Kenrick. Coleman, a very quick ball player.
That's true, and he really ran the offense well for Norristown when he came in the opening game of this season against Kenrick. Really, there was no let-up at all from when Coleman came in off the bench.
And Stankiewicz at the line makes the first basket. So our score, 14-7. Norristown ahead with 17 seconds. Make that 19 seconds to go in the first quarter. And Stankiewicz drills both free throws. So it's a 14-8 ball game. And Coleman will bring the ball up court for Norristown. Simpkins goes inside, dishes off to Doc Ward. Nice play that time by Michael Simpkins. That time he was under heavy pressure, and the pass was the proper move. This time we go inside. Offensive foul is going to be called against number 44, Kevin Davis. Davis that time took it all the way, and Norristown had time to get back. And I think that quickness will not only aid them offensively this year, Alan, but just in that, like in that last situation where they can get back quickly on defense. Oh, with no time left, Michael Simpkins puts a shot up at the buzzer. Basket won't go. So after 1 quarter of play, make our scores 16-8. Norristown with the advantage. And of course, out there on the floor with their backs to you, the Norristown High cheerleaders. I'll tell you, Alan, I think the time to mention that this is not an overwhelming crowd here in the Norristown High Gymnasium, but I think there are several mitigating circumstances. First, it's a Wednesday evening, a school night. I'm sure everybody else is home studying, all the student body. Tough night for folks to come out. And also, it's a ball club that Norristown fans aren't particularly interested in, I suppose, Central Bucks East.
I think you nailed it right there. People say CB East, and they say, oh, they're that team out by Doylestown, and they're in the Bucksmont League. You'll see them once a year. This is like a little tune-up game for league play. I'm sure, though, that the Wednesday evening is the biggest problem. Anytime you play a game any other night than Friday or Saturday, you're going to have problems with attendance.
Well, I think we were very interested last year to notice the increase in attendance at Norristown High basketball games.
I think that happens when you win 25 to 30 games and you go on to win the district championship. People will come out for a winner, although there has been some apathy among the Norristown fans the past few years. They really don't come out until the games are crucial.
Well, I don't know. I think even at the beginning of the year last year, you saw some fairly decent crowds, considering the team that really wasn't supposed to go that far and turned into a real winner. I was very impressed with the way the team went and with the support that they got year long from the Norristown fans.
One thing that will help attendance, I think, as the year goes on, is this Norristown team will rely on its quickness and its speed. And how you saw Keith Jones electrify the crowd that is here earlier with that reverse two-handed slam, I think you're going to see this team create its own excitement and consequently build the fan enthusiasm. And of course, Jeff, this game being brought to us by
the Norristown Area School District.
You do that so well.
Thank you. That's why they pay me the big money.
You got your contract renegotiated already.
Of course, I have to say also under the direction and production of Mr. Tony Koya.
That's true. Steve Bishop getting hounded down here in the corner, and we do have a whistle on the play. Foul's going to be on East. Let's see who it's going to go against. Foul being called on number 42, Andy York, who is playing Bishop just a little too close. Bishop inbounding it now. Joe Smith with it at the top of the key. Smith goes over to Doc Ward, who's open momentarily. Back out to Smith, who comes around the right side. Cross court to Ward, in the corner to Bishop. Drive, shovel pass, inside to Manning. Manning misses the easy layup. Got away with walking that time, too. East coming down with the easy rebound. That's number 44, Kevin Davis, 6'4" guard, bringing it up now for East. Goes down in the corner, has his man on the baseline. That's number 34, Kevin Reck. Reck inside to York. York shot good. Correction, make that Chuck Smith, number 14. Credit him with the basket. And now it's East's turn to go with the full court pressure. Norristown up here 16-11 in the opening minute of the second quarter, and we have a whistle as Simpkins drives to the hoop. Whistle blown on Andy York once again, so he picks up 2 quick ones. Simpkins going to the line. Mike already in this ball game. 6 of the Eagles' 16 points make that 7 as they go up 17-11. Norristown, of course, coached by John Cresswell. The Patriots, led by Bob Welch. Pressure, make that Bob Walsh. You missed that one little letter, Jeff, and you're in trouble.
That's right. Big difference, I'm sure Bob would say.
No Christmas card probably from Bob this year. Nice try that time. Save by Chuck Smith. Couldn't get it, though. Norristown, Steve Bishop right in front of us here. Going to inbound it. Giving it to Joe Smith. And I'll tell you, Joe Smith got a lot of playing time in the opening game against Kendrick and did pretty well.
I'll tell you, I was interested to see John Cresswell get his entire ball club into the game against Bishop Kenrick. And he got all those players seasoning in the first game of the year. And you can't ask for anything more than that to get your team tested at the beginning of the year instead of waiting these guys sit on the bench all year and then come down to the last game and they've got to play or something. It's good to have them get the experience right off the bat. And I think you're going to see John Cresswell work his players into the ball game as this game progresses, because I don't think CB East is really much of a challenge for the Eagles tonight.
Okay, and Bishop that time drives to the hoop, gets the easy bucket. Norristown up 20-11. I agree with you, and this also lets Cresswell know whose number he can call on in those crucial times when one of his starters gets into foul trouble.
And that time down the court, Doc Ward, the foul before the shot, so no basket, and Doc Ward guilty of the personal foul.
Stankavage going to the line. He's 2 for 2 from the charity stripe so far this evening. He only has 2 points, so that's probably why. And he nails that one. Stankavage, only a sophomore, directing the CB East offense. I'll make it 4 for 4 from the line. 20-13. Eagles on top. Exactly 6 minutes to go here in the first half. And once again, East pressing. Good move by Bishop to Smith, down to Ward. Ward drives. It's going to be traveling on Ward that time. He took one extra step as he drove to the hoop. And that's a shame that time. Doc, I think if he just would have went up on his initial drive, he would have easily had a clearer path to the basket, and he would have been called for traveling.
Well, it's that little extra stutter step that the guys use to give themselves a good launch, and you're guilty of traveling. That's all there is to it. The official was right there.
Okay, up the other end now. Patriots break the Eagles' press. Norristown dropping back. Interesting to see Norristown here in a man-to-man. Usually they just fall back there and rely on their 2-3 zone.
I noticed that early, and apparently it's been quite effective. As you see right there, Steve Bishop comes away with the ball for the Eagles. Another steal for Norristown. And I'd have to say a great many turnovers in this first half for CB East. They really aren't establishing their offense at all. Witness the fact they only have 13 points in this ball game with 5:20 left to go in the first half.
Bishop lines it up from outside, off to the right side. Ball is loose. I believe it's going to go out on the Patriots. Bounces off the leg of number 44, Kevin Davis, so Bishop will inbound it.
In this ball game, CB East has the height advantage, but Norristown obviously the quicker of the two ball clubs.
Interesting, and CB East also playing a 3-2 zone.
That's right.
Thank you. That was they pay you bucks to be an analyst, huh? That time Manning couldn't control it. His layup attempt was no good.
That's why we gave Bill Werkheiser that multi-year deal to get him here to analyze the components of this ball game. Nice pass inside that time. They go to Reck. Kevin Reck can't get the shot up. Foul on the play, though, and he'll go to the line.
Somebody blew a coverage assignment that time because Reck was wide open on the baseline. But good foul by Michael Simpkins. Why let the guy have the easy basket, make him work for it on the line? And now we have a substitution going out of the game. Number 12, Steve Manning. And checking in for the Eagles, number 13, Carl Matthews, a 6'2 senior forward. And the Patriots have gone with their same starting 5 in this one.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think they're going to have to move this offense a little bit. They've got to get something generated, but I really don't think that they're going to be that deep on the bench either. So I don't see that we're going to see anything different from these first 5 players, and they're not doing the job so far.
Dave Reck converts them 20-15. Norristown's lead cut to 5 here. I think it's important here the Eagles get back on the scoreboard. They've been dry for the last 2 minutes. Joe Smith, top of the key immediately. He's hounded by Reck. Goes over to Bishop. Bishop, alley-oop pass, picked off. Bad play that time by Bishop. Number 42, Andy York, coming up with it. York being hounded. He loses control of it. Bishop going for the steal. And we're going to have the whistle. Let's see who the foul's going to be blown on. I believe it's going to be against number 24, Bruce Stankavage. And that's the call. And they walk it to the other end. Steve Bishop going to the line now. Bishop already 6 points here in this game. He's got 7. Steve, of course, the key 6th man off last year's squad that advanced to the semifinals of the state playoffs. And, of course, we're the District 1 champs. Bishop and Simpkins, the only 2 returning starters, or varsity players with extensive varsity experience returning from last year's squad, I should say. Nice attempt at saving that one for Joe Smith. It's 22-15, Eagles on top, 4 minutes and 20 seconds left to go here. Norristown pressing in the backcourt, causing some problems on the inbound play for the Patriots. And Bishop coming up with a steal off of Stankovic, feeds Simpkins as he falls down. Simpkins in for the easy two-hand dunk. Nice defensive play once again by Steve Bishop, showing his excellent anticipation and good quickness on the D. Wide open now at the other end. That's number 24. Or correction, let's see, that was number 14 that time. Chuck Smith with the easy bucket. And now here comes number 42, Andy York with the steal. York, bounce pass over to Stankovic, takes a bad bounce, goes out of bounds. It's going to be Eagles ball. Patriots blew a big opportunity there as York coming up with the steal. His bounce pass intended for Stankovic goes out of bounds. It's now 24-17, Eagles on top. 3:40 left to go here in the opening half. This game being brought to you by the Norristown School District. I'm Alan Raleigh along with Jeff Brandon. And another interception that time by the Patriots. So the Eagles getting sloppy with their ball handling here. They've only put 8 points on the board so far in the second quarter. Baseline jumper around the rim and good for number 44, Kevin Davis. Davis, 3 points now in this game. Mark Coleman back into the game. Over the head pass. Lucky that one was saved by Doc Ward. Bad pass that time by Coleman. Ward managed to reach behind him, and as he did, to get the pass, he was fouled. Doc going to the line. He has 4 points in this game. 24-19, Eagles on top by 5. 3:11 to go here in the second quarter. And Ward bounces it too hard off the backside. And Ward 0 for 2. Not very good form displayed at the line. We have a scramble for the ball finally. It rolls over to Stankovic. He's leading the break for the Patriots. Gets it onto the baseline to Smith. He loses control of it. Ward coming up with it. Long lead pass to Coleman. Coleman has Bishop on his right side. Drives to the hoop. And he is fouled on the play that time. Whistle being blown on number 44, Kevin Davis. Good play by Coleman that time. Bishop was on his right side, but he was more or less covered. Take it to the hoop and tried to draw the foul, which he did.
I agree with you. The pass was definitely not there that time for Mark Coleman. But I think it's very interesting to note that with only 2:55 left, CB East has definitely narrowed the gap here. They're only 5 points down, and I find that very interesting. I think it's Norristown's got to slow their game down and some more crisp passing and not be so aggressive.
I agree with you 100% there. The up-tempo game and all that is fine, but you have to do it in a controlled manner, and I think the Eagles have gotten out of that here in the second quarter. But I think that also has a lot to do with it that you don't have many of your starters left in the game.
I agree with you, definitely.
Ball being bounced around. Finally, number 42, Andy York coming up with it, and tapped in off the glass that time by York. And let's see, we have an injured Eagle down there. That is number 24, Mike Simpkins. He looks like he's all right. A few vocal fans here in the Norristown Gymnasium. I think 2 or 3 of them are making all the noise. 2:36 left to go in the first half. It's 25-24, and the Eagles, they had a nice 10-point lead to play with. They played with it, and now it's narrowed down to 4. And I'll get it right if you give me another couple quarters.
That's good, Al. That's great. No, I'm a little bit disappointed in the way the Eagles have played here in this second quarter.
This is more important. This is an interesting cheerleader formation here. We must watch this as we comment.
Let me predict. I think they're going to pass the ball along the line and actually put it in the basket. Some kind of a pyramid thing. I bet you. I bet you. Of course, those are the Norristown High cheerleaders out there. Let's see. Now, who do I know? That's Melody Douglas, Dee Benny, Ellen Flannery out there, Poochie Wilson, Danielle Barrett, Sean Zumo, Conti Bono. There's a Mascaro out there. There it is, and Ellen Flannery through the hoop. What a great cheer, huh? Is that a classic?
Well, I'll tell you, it's not quite as electrifying as Jones's dunk back in the first quarter, but it's there, you know.
Well, there wasn't much suspense in that one. I think we sort of knew what was going to happen.
Well, I think what's going to happen is John Cresswell runs out of guards. I think he's been trying out Ellen Flannery on the side, you know, bringing in her. Perhaps we might see an integrated team. You never know.
You never know.
Just a thought. Okay, back to action here. 25-21. Eagles on top. They try to go inside. The ball bounces out. Simpkins picking it up. He's down in the corner. Finally swings it back out to Coleman. Top of the key. Has Bishop open on the left side. Yeah, he got away with traveling. You're right. Bishop Pops from outside. Steve Bishop, 10 points. He's the top scorer in this ball game, 27-24. Correction, 27-21. 2 minutes exactly left in the first half. The Eagles press at the timeline. And Doc Ward coming up with a steal. Feeds Simpkins wide open. Simpkins with the easy one-handed layup.
Nice play by Ward. That time, Doc Ward definitely generated that play with a great steal. And he saw Michael Simpkins on his left, gave him the nice lead pass.
So Norristown's lead once again built up to 8 points in a matter of 30 seconds. Missed shot there by the Patriots. Bishop pulling the ball off the glass there. Feeds to Simpkins. Simpkins pops around the rim. No good. Whoa, what a tough shot to miss that time. I'll tell you, Simpkins just seems to hang in the air.
Michael has great hang time, as you say, and I think that time he did play under control. He pulled up for the jumper, and he took the right shot instead of driving in and perhaps being called for an offensive foul. That time it just didn't go for him.
That is something Mike Simpkins definitely would have done last year, but you can see that year of maturity, what it's done to his game. Air ball that time by the Patriots. We have some banging down low. We have a whistle. Let's see. And they're walking the other end, and it's going to be whistled on number 42, Andy York.
Tell you what, though, Alan, I think that perhaps one of the reasons that CB East was able to get back into this ball game just a few moments ago was their ability to get second and third shots underneath. I think they've been able to establish position underneath, and they're a Husky ball club, and perhaps Norristown will have some problems with that later on in the year with allowing second and third shots because they can't establish underneath. And while, of course, let's consider Theron Ellis is out of the ball game.
That's very true. Patriots have gone with their original starting five all the way deep here into the second half, but we're going to have a substitution. Number 30, Rusty Gadsby, getting set to check in. Eagles up 31-21. They were only leading by 4 about a minute and a half ago. Jumper that time, no good. Rebounded by the Patriots, knocked right back out. Doc Ward that time with the rejection. Stan Cabbage trying to drive. They go cross court now over to number 20. That's Jim Randall into the game. Inside to York. York can't control Randall's pass. Bishop coming up, a 4-on-1 break. Easy feed to Coleman. It goes in for the layup. Good court sense that time by Steve Bishop. He spotted his open man there out of the 3 he had to choose from, and it was an easy bucket. 22 seconds left to go in the first half. 33-21. Stan Cabbage has a wide open York. Or correction, make that Kevin Reck. And Reck converts for 2. Almost traveled on that play. 11 seconds left to go here in the second quarter. Eagles get it up to Coleman. Coleman pops with 5 seconds remaining. Bounces off the rim. Randall pulling it down. It's loose. Coleman with it. And that is the end of the first half. So at the end of one half, Norristown up 33-23 over the Patriots of Central Bucks East. Jeff and I will be back in just a moment with our halftime show. Hey, look, this is,
At halftime, our score 33-23. I'm Jeff Brandon here with Alan Raleigh. You may have caught us talking before the camera came on, but that's okay too. Alan, I was impressed by Norristown especially in the first quarter. They generated a lot of offense. I think they lost a little bit there in the second quarter when the starters were out of the ball game.
That's true. In the first quarter, I think the key thing was that Central Bucks East came out here and they tried to run with Norristown, and that was a big mistake because we see with the Eagles' quickness and their speed that they are able to run with anybody, and consequently they got off to the big 10-point lead. Second quarter came around. Norristown was leading 16-8. They were up by 8 points. John Cresswell started substituting, going pretty deep on his bench, getting into that 8th, 9th, 10th player category, and consequently CB East, which kept its starting 5 back there, cut it down to 4. Norristown took a timeout, and then they seemed to rejuvenate their fast break, and that really put them back up here again.
Well, that's because John Cresswell brought back in the starters, and I think that's why Norristown at halftime has a 10-point advantage rather than that 4 or 5 points that it was cut down to with 2 minutes remaining in the half.
That's true. As we said throughout the second quarter, the second quarter gave John Cresswell more or less a chance to see who can play for this team, who will help him later in crunch time situations when one of his starters get in foul trouble. And that's a luxury that he is being afforded this evening because CB East is a little slower. Although they do have the height advantage, they don't have the speed really to keep up with Norristown. Although we did see now in the second quarter especially where Norristown could possibly have some major problems on their hand trying to rebound against a taller team.
I think so, especially, and we just touched on it during the play of the game, that Theron Ellis has have got to stay in the ball game for Norristown to be effective against taller ball clubs this year. They simply do not have it off the bench for the rebounding power. Theron Ellis is an outstanding leaper, but if he's in the ball game, that does you no good.
Exactly. Theron Ellis, for both games this season, he picks up his first and second personal fouls relatively early in the first quarter. Consequently, he sits the remaining in the first quarter. He never reappears in the first half, and that is something he has to be aggressive, and yet you have to tame that aggressiveness. I think that's something that Michael Simpkins has done very well over the past year. However, Theron didn't really get too much playing time. He was more or less the 9th or 10th player off the bench of last year's district championship squad, and I think it's going to take him a good 10, 12 games until he really gets the feel for the physical contact out there, because I guarantee you the centers on the opposing teams are going to know he's green, and if they're smart enough, they're going to try to take advantage of it down low. A couple bumps either way, and hopefully they can draw the foul.
All right, what about this ball game? What does CB East need to do to chop down that 10-point deficit? I think it's going to be tough, personally.
I think I wouldn't be surprised if they came out here and pressed a lot more. At times in the first half, they did try to press in the backcourt, and they got Norristown to cause create a few turnovers, which led to a couple easy buckets. However, I think that's going to be tough because, as we see, Norristown has a very good ball-handling squad, especially when you have Steve Bishop back there in the backcourt. They can't run with Norristown. They've got to be much more patient on the offensive end, try to work the ball inside, take advantage of their height, and I think press on the defensive side.
Okay, we'll be back in just a moment with John Cresswell's Norristown High Eagles and the Patriots of Central Bucks East. Okay, we're just about ready to go for our second half of basketball. And Theron Ellis, number 14, whips that tap back to Steve Bishop, number 20 for Norristown. Your other starters for the Eagles, number 11, Keith Jones, number 22, Doc Ward, and number 24, Michael Simpkins. In there we have a substitution for the Patriots. Number 20, Jim Randall is into the ball game. Ward's shot from the outside won't go. Follow-up, I believe, by Michael Simpkins. The basket's good. Randall looks for some help. Out of bounds. It's knocked out by Mike Simpkins, and CB East will retain possession from right next to us down here on the near sideline. So it's Stankavich, number 24, Randall, number 20 out there, number 40, number 42, Andy York, number 14, Chuck Smith, and number 34, Kevin Reck out there for the Patriots. They go cross court. That was not intended for Jim Randall, but Randall comes away with it. Stankavich with the shot. Basket's good. Foul on the play. Heck of a shot by Stankavich. Makes the shot, and he'll go to the line for a three-point play. So our score, 35-25. Just underway in the second half, 7:23 left to go here in this third quarter. And Stankavich makes the basket. Oh my goodness, Doc Ward called for the offensive foul. Doc doesn't like that call, and it was borderline, folks. Underneath there, Doc Ward called for the offensive foul. So CB East will come back with possession. Almost backcourt. They whip it up to Stankavich. Goes in against Theron Ellis. Ellis called for the foul. Stankavich that time really going up against superior odds, driving in on Theron Ellis, but I think the objective might be to get Ellis out of the ball game. What do you think?
I think it would be a good objective if that is what they're trying to do here. Stankavich 5 for 5 from the line this evening. I thought Theron that time got all ball. Apparently there was some contact in there. Stankavich now 6 for 6 from the line, and he quickly has picked up 8 points here, and it's 35-27, possibility of being 28.
I'll tell you, Stankavich is deadly from the free throw line. Norristown doesn't want to get him there more than is absolutely necessary. Simpkins down court. He's going to slow it up, bring it back outside to Steve Bishop.
You don't want Michael Simpkins handling the ball that much up in the front court that time, but that's going to happen. Your forwards are going to have to do that when they try to break the press and they're successful.
Doc Ward, shot won't go. Theron Ellis with the rebound. He has it tapped away by number 34, Kevin Reck, but Reck is called for the foul. So number 14, Theron Ellis at the line. Ellis misses the first one. Second one no good as well. Mike Simpkins tries to sky for that rebound, won't go for him. and the Patriots will bring the ball up court. They go to Reck, down low to York. I'll tell you, the Patriots being very patient here on offense.
That's exactly it, and as we said during the halftime show, they have to do that to be successful, try to work the ball down low and inside to their big men.
I think that was inevitable. That time, number 34, Kevin Reck, who had that ball?
That's right, and Reck just couldn't decide whether he wanted to go back outside with it or go to the hoop. And when you're tentative like that, something bad is going to happen eventually, and that time he was called for traveling.
Well, he had double pumped initially, and as Norristown beats the Patriots press, they come to Mike Simpkins, pulls up for the jumper, won't go. Doc Ward, what a rebound! Basket good for Doc Ward. I'll tell you, that was a nice play by him.
And Chuck Smith was fronting him the whole time. Doc Ward went over on top of Smith, pulled down the board, and popped it right in off the glass, and blocked that time by Ellis, and that's where he's so good in the middle.
Steve Bishop takes the outlet off the glass. Basket's good, and it's a defensive foul, folks. Stankiewicz called for the foul, didn't have his feet firmly planted, can't draw the offense. And Steve Bishop with 12 points in this ball game.
And more importantly, CB East had cut the deficit to 6 points. If Bishop sinks his free throw, Norristown would go up by 12 once again. 6 minutes to go here in the third quarter.
And Steven makes the bucket. So he's got 13 in the ball game. As Alan said, the Eagles ahead now 40-28 with 5:50. Foul on Steve Bishop. Not a good foul.
Not a good foul. It shouldn't have been a foul. Stankiewicz more or less passed the ball and threw himself into Bishop's body. And but I guess, you know, we have a different vantage point here at least.
That's exactly right. The officials are not wrong. the men in the stripes are not wrong.
Pretty tactful, wasn't it?
Extremely so. You're getting much better. They go to Randall with the jumper, wide open, and nothing but net. That time, well set up play by CB East.
That's right. They swung the ball around until they finally got to the open man, and now Norristown turning it over at the other end.
Keith Jones that time, a bad pass. Keith Jones not using his head, tried to force that ball down low. There were 4 players back. Steve Bishop, nice steal. Oh, Stankiewicz, travel. We discussed this last time, Alan. That is such a tough call. The guy on the floor, you know, he moves his butt 2 inches, and that's a traveling call.
That's true, but it's funny how things work out. Bishop whistled for a foul, which I thought was a little questionable. Here at the other end, you get a cheap call like that, and it goes the other way. So it all evens up at the end.
Not cheap, Alan. Marginal.
Pardon me. Judgmental. That's what it should be.
Norristown inside, won't go. Kevin Reck whipped that ball outside. We're going to have a call on the play. Theron Ellis was going up for the shot that time. So number 42, Andy York. That's at least his 3rd personal in this ball game. Theron Ellis at the line, and he stoned the last 2 free throw shots.
Bricks, I think, are the proper terms.
I knew it was some kind of masonry. Ellis makes the first. Not pretty, but effective.
Well, he got the extension that time on the arm. The biggest thing with Theron when you see him shoot those free throws is he doesn't get that much of an angle, not much projection in his shot.
And he bounces the second one in. So John Cresswell will take him any way you can get him.
Of course, you know Theron is 6'4", and I'm not going to ever give him lessons or anything like that, or far be it for me to criticize him.
Far be it.
Oh.
Baby.
Ellis just got away with that one. The official's back was turned. He more or less came down on top of Scott Stankiewicz there. Excuse me, Bruce Stankiewicz.
That time a nice jumper by Kevin Reck from the outside. Our score now, it's a 10-point ball game, 42-32. We've got 4:35 left to go in the third quarter, and Kevin Reck has 12 points in this ball game. Keith Jones is really having some problems with ball handling. Norristown gets a break there as Stankiewicz and Bishop both fight for the ball, and they call it out on Stankiewicz. And Andy Towns coming into the ball game, and I'm going to bet it's Keith Jones who's going to take a seat on the bench. Yep, that's who it is. Keith Jones has got to calm himself down a little bit, planner control. He's not handling the ball well at all.
Well, that time they caught him in a trap at the timeline. No one was there to help him out, and he tried to dribble his way through it, and that's a disaster.
And that time, Norristown tries to post up the shot. Mike Simpkins, Andy Town goes for the save, won't go for him. Out of bounds. And of course, we mentioned before, Andy Town, wide receiver for Norristown this past year in football, and being recruited by some Division I schools. And he demonstrating his fantastic speed. And of course, he's also a baseball player for Norristown High, so a three-sport man for the Eagles. The Eagles had the ball initially, gave it right back. The turnaround by Randall, I believe that is. Nope, no good. No, it's another substitution. Number 30, Rusty Gadsby, missed that last shot. Mike Simpkins, nope, offense. I'll tell you, I've never seen more offensive calls against the club than I've seen against the Norristown High Eagles in these first two ball games.
Beautiful play that time by the Patriots defender, and I didn't catch his number that time. He saw Simpkins was going to drive on him. He held his ground. Simpkins just laid up a little too long in the air, and Patriots defender took a good fall. It looked real impressive, but it was a charge definitely on Mike.
I think Norristown, they've got that athletic ability, that sky. Nice play by Stankiewicz. Good basket for him. Small guy going up in the middle there. But to get back to that last point, Norristown, they've got that athletic ability. They fly inside and they fly in out of control. And a team who's smart like that, they'll sit there and take the charge every single time.
That's right. What good is taking a flight if you don't have a plan? 42-34.
So a stoppage play with 3:13 left to go in the third quarter. It's an 8-point ball game. The Eagles up 42-34. So Norristown brings the ball inbounds. Oh my goodness! Steve Bishop with at least an 18-foot jumper right through. Heck of a shot in a 15-point ball game for Steve Bishop already. Nice passing this time for the Patriots. Get the ball up court to Randall. Oh, Mike Simpkins skies in the air. Randall waits, didn't do him any good though. Shot up an air ball. And Kevin Reck, that ball off the side of the basket, and they said Andy Town got his hand on the ball. That's why it was out of bounds. .241 left to go in the third quarter. 44-34 our score. From in the middle, Chuck Smith won't go. Follows up his own shot. Eagle ball. Stankiewicz gets his hand on the ball, knocks it out of bounds. Steve Bishop calling out the offense for his Eagles. They're going to Ellis. I'll tell you, nice catch by Theron Ellis. And a good basket. He had three defenders right around him. That was a heck of a pass, though, from the baseline. 46-34 with 2:14 left to go in the third quarter. Nice pass. Oh, he's got a man wide open. Randall missed that one. Went in on Doc Ward. Oh, my, what a play by Doc Ward. He's got Mike Simpkins all alone. Chuck Smith back on the play. The basket's good. I'll tell you what, Alan, what an exchange of events. That time, Randall went down court. He had Kevin Reck wide open on the left side. Missed the pass. Doc Ward got back, blocked the shot, saved it in bounds to Andy Town. Andy Town outlet to Mike Simpkins. Mike Simpkins slammed the ball through with Chuck Smith right underneath of him. What an exchange of events.
That time, Mike Simpkins used his head. He heard the footsteps behind him. He knew they were coming right behind him to try to block that shot. Instead, he moved a little bit in midair over to his right and came to the side of the basket for the slam. But Doc Ward at the other end really keyed that play. You're right. Amazing, as if he had eyes behind his head that time. Just sensing Steve Bishop was back there as you're flying through midair and knocking it back and right into his arms. And Bishop with the good 40-foot long pass up the other end to Simpkins.
And the Norristown High cheerleaders on the court again. Of course, this game being brought to you by the Norristown Area School District. Mr. Tony Koya directing and producing our show tonight, as well as running camera. A man of many hats is Tony Koya.
Well, that's why they pay him the big bucks.
I've been telling him that for a long, long time. Poochie Wilson took a big fall that time. Hope she's okay. She seemed to think it was kind of funny, so I guess she's okay. She's a co-captain. She can do what she wants, I suppose.
That's true. She can't get fired from the job.
Or maybe. And with 2:01 left to go in the third quarter, a 14-point Eagle advantage, their biggest lead of the ball game, 48-34. Michael Simpkins for the three-point play. Nope, won't go for him. They fight for the rebound, taken by Chuck Smith. Stankiewicz being double-teamed by Bishop and Town. Gets the ball up court to Randall. Randall pulls up, got no place to go. That time Norristown took themselves out of the defensive coverage. They get a break there. Chuck Smith. Oh, my. Looked like all ball to me for Doc Ward. I mean, he just knocked the ball out of his hands. They called Doc for the foul. That's a tough call.
Definitely. It looked like he had all ball. You know, this is interesting. In the first game this season between Kennewick and Norristown, the officials more or less let them play their game. It was very physical, a lot of banging underneath the boards. This one, the officials are really keeping control and keeping a tight rein on both teams. But as Bill Werkheiser says, and he says accurately, if you're going to call them, be consistent. And that's what these two referees have done this evening.
Okay, the first basket, the first free throw from Chuck Smith is good. And so is the second one. So it's a 12-point lead again for Norristown, 48-36. We've got 1:40 left to go in the third quarter. Bishop got to get the ball up court. Andy Town finally finds Mike Simpkins on the far sideline. Simpkins goes underneath. Nope, bad play by Michael. He had no place to go underneath. CB East was back on defense.
Well, I think Mike that time saw there was a brief moment of daylight. He thought he could drive the baseline and go up underneath for the layup, but then immediately the Patriots dropped back on the baseline and blocked his way.
And Steve Bishop guilty of the infraction this time. There was a lot of flying around in there, a lot of arms flying about. That time the ball was loose, and they called Steve Bishop for the personal foul.
Jeff, do you have a sense here that this game really could be a 25-point advantage right now for the Eagles rather than 12 here, 11 now because of the free throw?
I think they're the better ball club. I just think that coming into this ball game, they probably didn't have the enthusiasm that they did coming off their most exciting games of the year. The Bishop Kenrick game, they were big winners. And I really don't think that they saw CB East as a big challenge, and they're not playing as emotionally perhaps as they might. I mean, they're playing good basketball. There's no question about that. They're beating the Patriots in most facets of the ball game, but they're not playing really with a burning passion here. And I can't blame them, really. They work the ball around to Doc Ward, tries to go up, the ball's tapped out to Andy Town. Bishop's got the open jumper. Oh, my. I tell you, I was just about to say, you don't want to give Steve Bishop an open jump shot, but no good. And the Patriots come back up court. We're under a minute now in the third quarter. 48-38, a 10-point Norristown advantage. They go to Chuck Smith. Nice shot. I mean, nice pass. Poor shot. Underneath, that's number 30. Rusty Gadsby draws the foul on the follow-up shot, but I'll tell you, that time Chuck Smith should have had the easy 8-foot jumper. He had a nice pass from one of his teammates, just failed to convert. Gadsby, point is good. And folks, you ought to be real glad that we don't have our two microphones set up here tonight. You're not hearing all the commentary that Alan Raleigh is throwing at me tonight, and some of the cliches are just absolutely horrendous.
But typical.
I wasn't going to say that. After the second free throw, shot no good. They fight for the rebound, and Norristown finally comes away with it. Keith Jones. Oh, my goodness. I was just about to criticize Keith Jones for taking a wild shot. He sets off with that quick pass, throws the ball in the air, and it's a good.
Keith just reappeared back into the game, and I'll tell you, he'll shoot it. He doesn't matter. He can be cold as ice coming off the bench, but he'll fire up that jumper anywhere on the floor.
And the basket was good for him, so it's 50-39. Norristown High. Oh, Andy Town with a nice steal. Town on the breakaway. Easy layup. Nice play by Andy Town. His first bucket of the ball game. We've got 10 seconds left to play. It's 52-39 Eagles. Stankiewicz takes the shot. Oh, rolls around. Nice bucket for that young fella. Quick outlet to Bishop. He's got it. 1 second. No. Oh, it's good. Foul on the play. Oh, my goodness. What a play by Steve Bishop.
That is the ultimate cheap basket. Getting it as you hit the buzzer, getting fouled. Now you have a chance for a three-point play. And what, if you're a player on Central Bucks, you've just got to feel horrible right now because now you're facing, coming into the fourth quarter, the possibilities of a 14-point disadvantage. Interesting. Cheerleaders on the floor as Bishop goes to shoot the free throw.
Didn't bother Steve Bishop, though, one little bit. He made it impress the ladies.
I'm not saying anything more.
All right, Bishop at the basket. So at halftime, instead of a 10-point Norristown advantage or an 11-point advantage, it's 14 points, 55-41. And I'll tell you, I was praising Stankiewicz for that fine shot that he made, and Norristown whips the ball back down court. Steve Bishop right there got the basket with put it into the air with 1 second to go, and he draws the foul and it converts the basket. So a nice play by Steve Bishop, the Norristown High cheerleaders out there on the floor for you. So they've got 8 minutes to play, and CBE certainly not too impressive there in that third quarter. They did not narrow the lead one bit. In fact, they gave up 4 more points to the Norristown advantage. So it's a 14-point Eagle lead, and CB East has the work cut out for them.
Oh boy. Take a quick look here at the scoring right now. Leading scorers for Norristown. As usual, Steve Bishop and Mike Simpkins, they each have 18 points apiece. For the Patriots, top scorer, Bruce Stankavage, 13 points. He has 10 of them in the third quarter. And Kevin Reck with 12. Theron Ellis going up here. He gets the tap right in the hands of Steve Bishop. Bishop rolls over to the right side. The Town back to Bishop. Has Ward at the top of the key. Correction, make that Keith Jones, number 11. Jones, Simpkins, Bishop, Town, and Ellis out there for John Cresswell's crew. Eagles being very patient. They have time on their side, and they also have a 14-point lead, and that doesn't hurt. Jones that time tried to go bounce pass down to Town. Stankavage alertly putting his foot out there. Eagles ball. Town will inbound. Over to Bishop.
Stall offense. Looks like John Cresswell wants his ball club to go into the stall offense, only take the good shots. They're going to work that ball around with a 14-point advantage, and I don't blame John for going into this type of an offense.
Well, you want to draw the Patriots out of their zone, force them into a man-to-man, and then hopefully you'll create some turnovers and some quick baskets.
I'll tell you, Andy Town made a fine play that time. Took the ball inside, had five defenders collapse around him, and made the basket. Oh, there's the breakaway. Andy Town gives to Mike Simpkins for the slam. That time, Andy Town gave up the easy 2 points. Steve Bishop handed it off to Andy. He said, go ahead, Andy, take the layup. And he said, no, Mike, you take the slam, buddy.
That's because Mike was going, Andy, I want 20 points. I want it. And he's got it. 20 for Mike, 18 for Bishop. I'll tell you, Stankavage really is impressing me. The sophomore guard running the Patriots offense now has 15 points. He had 2 at the half. Jeff, you're commenting about his height?
He is not 6 feet tall. That program lists Stankavage as 6 feet. There's no way he's 6 feet tall. Maybe 5'9".
Reverse layup fails Theron Ellis, but Mike Simpkins right there for the easy tap. 2 more. Mike with 22. 61-43, the Eagles breaking this one wide open now. 6 minutes and 4 seconds left to go in the game. Stankavage once again is open. He pops, rolls around the rim, bounces out. Stankavage diving for it. Diving for it again. It goes out of bounds, and they're giving it to the Patriots.
They're going to give it to Norristown, I believe, but I think Norristown got a break that time. Theron Ellis bumped into Stankavage going for that ball. Could have possibly been called a foul, but I suppose because there was no possession involved.
Jones cutting across the backside of the lane, pops for the jumper off the backside of the rim, right in the hands of number 44, Kevin Davis. Davis looking for some help here. Finally has an open spot. Pulls up. Nothing but net that time for Kevin Davis. Kevin's 4th and 5th points of the evening. Steve Bishop, you can see him out there directing traffic. Intended pass for Keith Jones, picked off by York. York driving in for the hoop. Theron Ellis riding his back and whistle for the foul. And Steve Manning checking into the ball game now, number 12. 6'1" center, senior for the Eagles. Theron Ellis taking a seat on the bench. Chuck Smith on the line. He rims that one. 61-45. Get up on your feet, and 1 for 2. 61-46, 5:21 left to go here. Bishop. Norristown getting pressed. Jones pressured that time and trapped by 3 defenders. Tried to go back to Bishop, but he didn't look first before making the pass.
This game's been rather enlightening. We can see that Keith Jones is not the ball handler definitely on this club for Norristown. Keith has problems when he's under pressure.
That's it exactly. Steve Bishop is a much better ball handler. Mike Simpkins has a few problems there. That's something I think they're going to have to work on as the season goes on.
And if you're a league scout for Norristown Suburban 1 League National Division, you've got to take note of that Keith Jones is the guy you want to pressure on that full court press.
3 times this evening we've seen Jones bringing the ball up over the timeline, and all 3 times he's gotten trapped by 2 to 3 defenders by the Patriots. And you're exactly right there. They're going to key on him and look for him.
It could be a problem later on in the season. We'll see.
Bishop pops from outside, round the rim, no good. Taken down by the Patriots, number 14, Chuck Smith. And it goes out of bounds on Mike Simpkins, they're saying. 4:53 left here, 61-46, 15-point deficit, yes, or disadvantage for that matter for CB East. I tell you, Jeff, it's getting tough here. It must be the water they have in the water fountain.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You agree, that's good.
J.C. Penney.
Kevin Davis at the line. He sinks the first. He'll get a second. 61-47. 4:49 left.
One thrill after another.
For those of you that didn't catch that, Jeff Brandon saying one thrill after another. And you're right as he sinks his second free throw. I'll tell you, when you don't have these barn burners, kind of dull. However, I will say something. This isn't like football where you get to the fourth quarter and you see like the players you never, ever see playing coming into the game, and you have to search your program, and then you find out they're not even listed on the program.
I much prefer a 12-man squad to a 60-man squad. It's much, much simpler.
Except when you come here for the beginning of the game and you have the roster in front of you and you see CB East, JV, and varsity all grouped, and there's 3 number 24s on your roster for CB East, and you have to wonder, who is this player? Multifaceted, without a doubt.
Multi-talented player, definitely. Michael Simpkins with that first free throw.
And Michael's really chalking himself up quite an evening here. 29 points. And we have 4:41 left in the game. 63-48 Eagles with the big advantage. Davis getting another easy basket. Give Kevin Davis his 8th and 9th points of the evening. Andy Town handling the ball now. Oh, and Andy Town called for turning it over. Double dribble time.
That time Andy lost control of the ball coming up court. He was double teamed, and he succumbed to the pressure that time.
One trademark of all the Norristown Eagle squads over the year, always a good ball handling guard. And I think we have it this year in Steve Bishop, but someone else has to be there in the backcourt to complement him. Oh, nice 20-footer that time. Sunk by Kevin Reck. He has 14 points. And we have a substitution coming back into the game. Doc Ward, number 22. And Steve Manning coming to the line. Or coming to the bench, I should say, for the Eagles. 63-52. And suddenly, Jeff, we have an 11-point ball game here.
Yeah, suddenly an 11-point ball game, but certainly not a 3 or a 4-point ball game. CB East has a long way to come in 4 minutes. Oh, nice outlet pass to Keith Jones. Jones with the fadeaway. And that time, Keith Jones used his athletic ability to great advantage. He could have gone inside. He would have had the ball blocked. He faded away and made the nice jumper.
Stan Cabbage now into Davis. Davis has really done their offense the last few moments, and once again he's going to be going to the line. Foul being whistled on number 2 and number 5, Andy Town. I'm thinking number 2 is football number.
That's funny. Also on the bench, of course, this year with John Cresswell, Earl Mitchell, who's been with him for some years, and new face on the bench, I believe that's Mark Werkheiser, Coach Werkheiser's son.
True, Mark Werkheiser, one-time a player here for the Norristown Eagles.
76 squad, wasn't it? 76?
I think it was 76.
I'm bandying these things about.
I notice how you say these things off mic. Let me confirm them, and then if I'm wrong, it's my fault. Davis sinking the free throw that time. 65-54. And it goes back over the timeline. Well, Kevin Davis offering words of encouragement to his teammates. They've cut it to 11. Time going against them, though. 3:42 left. Inbound to Stan Cabbage. Stan Cabbage at the top of the key. Davis wide open. They've got to go to him. He has the hot hand right now. Bounce pass to Stan Cabbage. And you can just see the disarray there. They just don't know what to do at times on the offensive end. Number 42, Andy York, getting the basket. He has 6 points now. Bishop up to Simpkins, 65-56. Simpkins airs it out, no good. And now we come back to the other end.
And the only thing that those quick shots are doing is giving CB East more time to get back into this ball game. Why do you come down and take the quick jumper? It's not a sure shot. Waste some time. You're only ahead by 9 points. My goodness, that young man hit the floor hard. That's number 14, Chuck Smith. Boy, he came crashing down. He got off balance and knocked around. He went up for the shot. That must have hurt.
Quite a thud that time, and I believe he landed on his elbow, but he's getting up and he looks okay.
Gives us an opportunity, although not a nice opportunity, to mention we have a hardwood floor here at Norristown High School. They replaced that tartan surface that was in here previously. And the hardwood, very beautiful, but also very hard.
And Theron Ellis had checked in right before that timeout taken by the Eagles. It's 65-56, 3 minutes and 3 seconds left to go here. Norristown entered this final period with a 14-point lead, but CB East is chipped away. You know, we're going to have to speak to the cheerleaders. If they're going to do these cheers, which are great, even though the Norristown fans are on the far side of the gymnasium, we've got to get their faces on camera.
I think at least once or twice a game they ought to turn this way so the folks at home can see what they look like.
And I'm sure that you're going to take care of those matters for us, aren't you?
I'm a busy person, Alan. Finals, it's a tough life. I mean, I barely made it here this evening as you did.
Hey, I got here 42 seconds before the opening tip, and that was plenty of time.
Well, I spoke to Barry Spencer during the first quarter, and he said he's renegotiated our contract, and so I think that the money we'll be making now more than compensates for the time and the effort that we put into our ball games here for Norristown High School.
That's true. Actually, I do have an excuse for being late. Tonight, being a sparse crowd, we had plenty of room in the gymnasium. The CBS chalkboard and, of course, the instant replay machine was scheduled to be here, but they had some problems with the electrical wiring, and hopefully we'll have it for that next game, Jeff. It's nice of them to lend that to us.
We keep talking about it. I'd really love to see it materialize sometime. Wouldn't that be nice?
Well, you know, John Madden says it's fine with him, and we're going to get it. 65-57, 3:03 left. Number 14, Chuck Smith, now has 6 points in this one. And another one, and CB East has been perfect at the free throw line. A 7-point game here, and the Eagles, Theron Ellis, Steve Bishop, Doc Ward, Mike Simpkins, and Keith Jones, the starting five back there for Norristown. This game should have been much, much easier than it is right now. Norristown facing a 7-point lead.
Well, perhaps we underestimated CB East at the beginning of this ball game. Or perhaps it's the fact that Norristown has had a big letdown in this ball game. The pressure is really getting to them here in this fourth quarter. I'm surprised. I really am surprised. And they're coming out of that zone defense, going to the man-to-man and pressuring the ball handler. There's the double team and a foul committed by Bruce Stankiewicz. Yeah, they don't have any time to sit back in that zone defense. Of course, if Norristown's going to come flying down and take the quick shot, they're going to let them do it. But obviously Norristown's John Cresswell has straightened that problem out during the last time out. Steve Bishop at the line shooting 1-1. And Steve Bishop does not miss too many free throws.
It surprises me. After the timeout, Norristown inbounding the ball, CB East just went right back under the board, set up in the zone. And they flashed that zone for 30 seconds and killed that much time off the clock before coming to the man-to-man pressure. 67-58, 9-point advantage. Steve Bishop now with 20 points for the Eagles this evening. Bishop with 20, Simpkins with 29. So there you can see 49 of the Eagles, 67 points coming from those two. Keith Jones with the steal. He has Simpkins on his flank. And Jones simply lost the ball.
I'll tell you, he was thinking slam dunk, and he lost the handle on the ball.
And CB, bad pass that time, picked off by Doc Ward. The give is up to Bishop now. Minute 52 left. Norristown, 67-58. Patriots in a man-to-man. Simpkins breaks open, and we're going to have a jump ball. Good call that time because the Patriots defender got nothing but ball.
That time, Andy York, number 42, and Kevin Reck, number 34, were both right on top of Michael Simpkins. They're going to say that Kevin Reck is the man to jump the ball for CB East. Both of those players, all ball, no foul committed. Simpkins had the height disadvantage, won the tap, went to Theron Ellis, and Theron Ellis makes the basket.
And Theron now has 3 buckets in this one for 6 points. 69-58, a minute 30 left. Keith Jones pulling that one off the glass. To Simpkins. Simpkins lays it up off the glass, and it's good. Mike Simpkins now with 31 points. 26 points as I didn't count correctly. Okay. And right in front of us, the ball goes out of bounds on number 14. Well, it went out on Chuck Smith, but they're giving it. And it is going to be CB's ball.
Well, that's right. I think Keith Jones admitted that when he said, I think it hit my leg, guys. We like that action, though, right down in front of us, right in front of the table.
The excitement. Nice jumper there by Stankiewicz. He now has 17 points. Notice how I added them up first. Just 50 seconds left. It's 71-60, and it's going to be CBE's ball. Bad pass that time by the Eagles. And they've got to just pump it up there. Davis, his shot is short, and it goes out of bounds on Michael Simpkins. Stankiewicz will inbound at 71-60. 41 seconds left now in the game. Nothing but net that time. And immediately, Patriots calling a timeout here. Kevin Reck with 16 points. Bruce Stankiewicz with 17, leading the way for the Patriots. For Norristown, we have Michael Simpkins with 26 and Steve Bishop with 20. John Ward, Theron Ellis, Keith Jones have all chipped in with 6. Andy Town with 4. Mark Coleman, who saw some action in the second quarter, with 3 points. Just 37 seconds left here. 71-62. Eagles on top. They entered this fourth quarter with a 14-point advantage. Closest CB East has gotten was 7 points midway through this quarter. But Eagles have reestablished their double-digit lead. Steve Bishop going to the line here. All the other Norristown defenders going down under the defensive boards. No need for them to be there. The other end, you want to prevent from CB East getting out on the break and getting the cheap basket. I'll tell you, Jeff, these last 2 minutes could take another 10.
Don't they know I have to study?
Life of a student. Bishop with 21 now. 73-62. 22 points for Steve Bishop. 34 seconds left. Davis pops. No good. Rebounded by CB East. Turnaround jumper fails. Bounces free. Keith Jones coming up with it. Jones getting caught by Stankiewicz for that loose ball. And it goes out of bounds on Jones, they rule. Correction on Stankiewicz.
It was a nice play by Bruce Stankiewicz. He had Keith Jones fighting for the ball with him. And Stankiewicz got his right hand in there and poked the ball away.
Well, 19 seconds left, 73-62. Andy Town, the trigger man here on the inbound pass. Way out to Jones, over to Bishop. And Steve Bishop fouled from behind as Bruce Stankiewicz goes for the steal. 15 seconds remaining now. Bishop already with 22 points. I believe he's been perfect from the line this evening. Make that 24 now for Bishop. 24 for Bishop, 26 for Mike Simpkins. Nice, sweet jumper there by Stankiewicz. Long inbound pass up to Jones. Saves it from going out of bounds. Simpkins with the easy slam. And that's all she wrote, folks. Final score in this ball game. Norristown, 77. And the Patriots of Central Bucks East, 64. And we have a discussion here on the floor. CB East had tried to signal for a timeout with about 10 seconds left, but the officials didn't see it. But once again, that final, Norristown 77, CB East 64. We'll be back in just a moment with our post-game wrap-up show.
Final score 77-64. Norristown High raises their early season total to 2-0, and an impressive victory, but perhaps not as impressive as it should have been.
No, one of those ho-hum affairs. Norristown getting up to a good 10 to 15 point lead throughout the first half. They just never really capitalized on the poor play of CB East and really tried to put them away here. But it gave Coach John Cresswell a chance to get down pretty deep in his bench, see who he could rely on later in the season. He also got a chance, a very good chance, to see who could and who couldn't handle the ball for the Eagles this evening. Very, very sloppily played game for Norristown. But I'm sure this is one of those games on the schedule you look at. You're coming in here to the Norristown Gymnasium, and if you're an Eagle, you're saying, easy win, CB East. We don't have to really play too hard. We'll play good first 8 minutes or so, which they did. First quarter, they were on a tear. And after that, they kind of just held back. And actually, it almost cost them because CB East pulled within 7 points with about 3.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, they did breeze to that victory somewhat, and I think, like you say, it cost them. I think after watching them for 2 ball games, Alan, Norristown obviously is going to be able to generate offense this year. Where I think they're going to have the problems is defensively. Ball control and under the boards.
Definitely. Bishop is a very, very good defender. Mike Simpkins has shown at times the potential to be a good shot blocker. Theron Ellis, when he stays out of foul trouble, which once again this evening he didn't, he definitely can dominate the boards, and the Eagles need him there. However, Keith Jones, a little bit of a defensive liability. Doc Ward tonight, very impressive game, came up with some beautiful plays, including one where he was going in midair, he was going out of bounds, he flipped the ball over his head to Steve Bishop, who aired it at the other end to Mike Simpkins, who went in for the slam, and it was just a beautiful three-way connection there.
Well, I think tonight we've seen our first examples of the Norristown High aerial attack, which has been quite interesting. Several slam dunks already tonight. The first ones of the season.
The Dunketeers here. Mike Simpkins with a couple of them, but a real crowd pleaser in the first quarter, I believe it was. Keith Jones, wide open, and Keith was thinking slam dunk, but he really did it up. Reverse, two-handed slam. Hung on the rim a little bit, got away with it, but it was a beauty.
I'll tell you, it was nice to watch. Those are the kind of basketball games that you like to see.
Now, that shows you what we think about this game. We're talking about the slams afterwards, but quite a good offensive performance, once again, by Steve Bishop and Mike Simpkins, as they did in the first game against Bishop Kenrick. They were the top scorers. Tonight, Simpkins with 28 points, and Bishop chipping in with 24. Elsewhere, let's see, we had Keith Jones, Theron Ellis, and Doc Ward all with 6 points apiece. Andy Town had 4, and Mark Coleman had 3 for CB.
And for the Patriots, Stankiewicz, after a rather lackluster first quarter, came on strong in the second half with some jump shots. He finished the ball game with 19 points. Andy York on the front line with 6 points. Chuck Smith ended with 7. Kevin Davis, who was hot in the fourth quarter, had 11 points. And Rusty Gadsby finished the ball game with 2 points, as did Jim Randall. And Kevin Reck, who was hot in the first half, finished with 16.
Hey, it's a win. W is a W, right? And this time they did it by a 77-64 count. Of course, we'd like to thank Tony Koya, who directed and produced this ball game. A jack of all trades, Tony Koya, the director of Norristown Communications. This game being brought to you by the Norristown Area School District. And, of course, make sure you watch your cable channel, because they'll be listing, first of all, both the women's and men's basketball schedule, and also you'll be able to see when our next cable telecast will be.
That's right. We'll be coming up with Plymouth Whitemarsh boys basketball, Norristown High, and of course the Triangle Tournament is something to look forward to later on in the holiday season.
Exactly.
Okay, for Alan Raleigh, I'm Jeff Brandon. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time.